Hi everyone, nice to see you all again. Today I will be creating another tier list here. We're going through Polish Eurovision entries from the year 1994 because that's when they debuted up until 2022, which was of course their last effort since we're still on the year 2022. There are how many songs could this be? Like 20, 25 maybe or something like that. So they've been in almost every year since the debut. Seven categories, you know how it works. Let's start talking about some songs here. In 1994, of course, Poland are kind of famous for having one of the strongest debuts ever, I think, finishing second place with Tony Ja here. Beautiful ballad, love it. Love the way it progresses. I think the instrumentation is very pretty in this song. Vocal performance is out of this world, and stage performance is pretty much the same. I think it's a very visually appealing performance with just how she kind of acts on stage. It all feels very natural and just works as a very professional performance to kind of go hand in hand with this beautifully well written song. I think it's a fantastic effort, fantastic debut. Um, my It's personally, I mean, I love Ireland 1994, so I think the results that were the actual reality were as they should be. But I know a lot of people think this definitely deserved the win over it, and I wouldn't really have minded if that happened. I love both, so still fantastic for me. This one, 1995, on the other hand, this one is divides opinions. Let's say I know a lot of people have this as their go-to anthem kind of thing from 1995. For me personally, I mean, 1995 is just that year that I love pretty much everything that participated in it. And for some reason, the one that I know a lot of people just absolutely love is one of the very few songs that I can't get behind from this year. It's simply not for me. It's too shouty. Just kind of the whole approach that it goes for isn't really my thing. It's very I think noisy is kind of a rude word to use in that case because that's just too negative. I get what they're doing here. Like I know what they want to do. I think their concept is great. It's just that for my ears it isn't super appealing, and for some other people's ears it is incredibly appealing. Which is just where the different subjective tastes really clash. Um, this one just becomes too much of like these high pitched notes, both instrumentally and vocally. They just kind of clash it for me. I don't really get a lot of enjoyment just listening to it. There's also like a very unexpected kind of structure within the song, and a lot of like a lot of segments of the song are kind of, I wouldn't say off-putting for me personally, because it's kind of, I appreciate that they're doing something with it. Like it's a cool concept. It's just that I can't really connect with it at any point throughout the song. So I think it's just gonna be down here for me because it's simply not for me. Simple as. 1996, however, is very much for me. This is like a heartbroken type of melancholy right throughout this song. I'll actually love it. This is oh, it's not quite Tonia great in my opinion, but it's just that real heart wrenching emotion that's just packed into this. There's so much melancholy. Love the backing track. It's a bit restrained, but it also has that kind of power to back up the kind of gut wrenching vocal performance, I think. It's just a nice combination of the two that really just works. Very visually appealing stage performance once again. Just really like a lot of aspects about this one. Like it a lot. Um, I think it's a fantastic effort, honestly. Then we have 1997, Ale Jestem. I know this is also one of these that have kind of a bit of a following for some people. It's just, again, it's not really for me. I think this one, though, kind of connects with me a little bit more. I find some enjoyment in it. It's just that these completely hectic chord swaps in the chorus mainly are just too much for me. It kind of does my head in. I mean, it's a nice approach and it could be admired very easily. It's just not simply not something that I get behind that much. I don't think the vocal melody is too pleasant. It's the instrumentation that I kind of like, but the song isn't really that anything that sticks to my mind, and it's not really something that I particularly enjoy listening to, even though it's kind of a well put together piece, especially instrumentation wise. So I'll put it in the I like it but category because I do like the instrumentation, and I kind of like the concept that they're going for, but I'm not particularly fond of the execution, I guess, and the actual songwriting of it. So yeah, I'll stick it in this category. In 1998, not really sure what the song is called, but it's very much in the same vein as Ali Yestem. I think this one is way more cheerful and very upbeat and happy. A bit too much so for my personal liking, if you know me, but it's not something that I would just completely turn off. It's just that this whole approach of both a song melodically and kind of the stage performance that you have here, it's all done with so much kind of the approach that, oh, this is super happy, let's all be happy and let's all enjoy this for what it is. And I'm just sitting here in the corner and I'm not really enjoying it as much as they are on stage. So I think we're gonna have another one in the I like it but category here. But it's fine. It has something in it. I like the upbeat tones. It's just that it's a bit too much for me personally. And I don't really get behind the vocal melody here either. I don't think it's super memorable. Even though the instrumentation has a nice sound to it, melodically, it's not really my thing. But what is my thing is their effort in 1998. This is very, very pretty. It's a beautiful ballad, lovely progression, immense vocal performance. Seriously, this is one of my absolute standout favorite vocal performances from the 90s. Just makes this song really stand out. It's not too remarkable, like melodically or such. I don't think the song really carries that kind of identity that makes me remember it too much. But I just really love it for the 3 minutes that it goes on every time I listen to it. I think it's a really great effort. It's also very, again, kind of visually appealing because the staging is beautiful at this. It's very scaled back and minimalistic, but it's just the stage from 1998 is a bit of a hit or miss. It looks, I don't really particularly like the look of it, but for this song, it just fits perfectly with the kind of starry background and this sun that's kind of rotating, you know? You know what I mean? The stage is a weird one from 1999, and for some songs it works, and for some it doesn't. For this song, I think it definitely works. It just looks beautiful. He has a lot of passion singing. His charisma is great. Backing track has a very nice just concept of it. I love the violins. I love the way the progression also works. The latter parts of the song are really just kind of it's very fulfilling. I think the final parts of the song really ties it into a neat bow because the song actually progresses. There's like an evolution continuously throughout, and as I said, the vocal performance just throughout is incredible. So you kind of just always kind of rely on that throughout the whole progression of the song. Really like it. Really great one. On the verge of breaking into the fantastic category, I think. 2001 is yeah, this is a weird one. You know, it's I think what most people just remember is his big fur jacket. But here in the photo, he's taking it off, so maybe you don't recognize the song because of that. I kind of like the song, actually. It's very upbeat, and it's not that kind of upbeat that's too cheerful. I just think there's a nice groove in it. It's got great energy, a nice backing track with some horns, and a very just bouncy beat throughout. Also, pretty nice incorporation of backing vocals that work with the main vocal. The melody is quite solid. I think it's a solid entry. Nothing too remarkable or such, but I just really enjoy it for the 3 minutes that it goes on. I think it's solid. And in 2003, they have Keine Grenzen, and so then a title in Polish, which I can't pronounce, I believe, by Ich Treue. This is always a weird one for me. Like, I really love the kind of epic tone and message of the song. It's just really well executed in that way. It's just that melodically, I'm not too interested in it. Vocally, it's quite pretty, but it's just not really my thing, which is weird because we're going to talk about another song from the same band later, which I will have a completely different opinion on. But this one just doesn't really hit me melodically. There's not a lot of energy into it. I think I just kind of like the concept more than I like the actual song that's going on here. So I think I'll have to put it in the I like it but category because it's simply not really for me, even though I really appreciate what they're doing. And it's very staged incredibly well. I love the performance. It's a very great performance with a lot of great ideas in there. But melodically, the song, I'm not really getting behind it. 2004. This is incredibly grating for me. I kind of despise this chorus. It's love song. I don't like the way she sings it. I don't like the melody, the intonation. Rhythmically, it's kind of cool. I mean, I like the type of music and how it's being involved in Eurovision. It's just that this is not the song I would have wanted for it. It's kind of just off-putting. I hate the chorus, which just kind of kills everything about it. So, not for me. Melodically and vocally, it's not my thing. Even though I kind of like the instrumental approach. 2005, however, this is a really great one for me. Maybe a bit controversial. I don't know. I think this song gets a lot of like people just kind of roll their eyes when they think of it because it's a bit messy. It's a bit all over the place. It's just a lot of energy all the way throughout. Very hectic, very non-stop in its hectic kind of approach. And then you have this really weird break at the end where the music completely kills and it goes like in slow motion and then picks up again. It's kind of an off-putting segment. I think it's a bit charming, but at the same time, I kind of have a problem with it. Regardless, the standout part of this song, I mean, performance is really just, I think it's very charming and very fun. The hook is a bit annoying, but also a lot of fun, I think. Verses I really, really like. And I think the main standout of everything in the song is the bass guitar in this song. The bass walks that go throughout this song are just remarkably great and just add so much bounce and character to the song throughout. You know, the rhythm from the drumming is very constant and very upbeat, but how the bass walks go on top of it, it's just perfection for a genre like this. It just works so well, like the input of the accordion as well and the guitar. But the bass is definitely the main standout in the song. So if there are any bass players out there, this is a song you should give a try and play along with because I think it's both tons of fun and it just sounds great. It just works so well in this song. Love it. 2006, again, now we talk about the same band here, of course, as in 2003. And this one I just think completely on the opposite for. I love the melody of this song. I love the instrumental. The instrumental has such a kind of a hypnotic hook to it, which is played on the strings. And then there's also a very memorable chorus melody to this one. Vocally, I think it's quite strong, even though, I mean, say what you want about his voice, because I think he has a very unique voice, which some people probably despise and some people probably love. I'm a bit on the fence on it. I'm not overly sold on it, but in this song, I think it just really works, and I love the whole kind of soundscape that this song has. I think it's really great. Very, honestly, a fantastic performance as well. It's very kind of, it really just carries a lot of identity to it, and there's a character into the performance as well, and it adds a layer of just something else as well. So yeah, I'm just all for this one. I love the hook as well. I think it's great. 2007, I don't think is great at all. Time to Party, what happened here? I don't know. The guy in his tank top and the pajamas, and then the girl in her short red skirt, and the dancers, and this is just such a train wreck of a performance, honestly, and the song is not a lot to really back it up with either. Annoying hook, awful kind of rap inputs throughout the song. The instrumental is really dull. I get that it's, mid-2000s hip-hop and maybe not the most in-depth or complex instrumentals lie behind that, but this is just such a poor attempt of everything, I think. It's simply not my type of music either, I will admit that, and if I'm missing something here, then that may be it, but I don't think I'm missing anything here. I think it's honestly quite dreadful. Sorry. 2008, we're not getting, this is, of course, complete opposite type of music from the 2007 effort. I think this one is called For Life or something like that. Unfortunately, this is just too slow and too uninteresting for me. There's a nice vocal performance in this, and there's a kind of a nice little flow in the melody for the chorus, but I think it's too uninteresting and too uninspired. I'll put it in the I like it but category because the vocal performance lifts something up in it, and it's also quite nicely staged. It's very, it does what it wants to do. It's just that I think the song that's there isn't interesting enough to really carry it. Yeah. And then in 2009, they just sent kind of a very similar song again with a similar performance, with a song that's even less interesting, I think. This one doesn't really have anything in it for me. Um, I'll be a bit harsh and I'll just say that this is not for me because I don't get any enjoyment out of it. I think it's way too uninteresting, it's way too slow, it's simply not my thing. Nope. We'll move on from these songs. We have another one of those coming up soon, so we'll talk a bit more about songs that sound very similar to each other, I guess, because now Poland are in their wacky stage again, because Legenda from 2010, it's just so absurd. Like, the performance is what's mainly just absurd. I don't really comprehend what's going on stage, especially towards the end when there's a woman completely stuck under his arm. It looks very off-putting, and I don't really like it, but there's probably some point to this performance somewhere. It's just that I don't really get it. But the song, I kind of just am all over for it. Like, I really enjoy it, in all honesty. I think the vocal performance is very strong, first and foremost. All vocal performances, in all honesty. The vocal arrangement throughout this song is actually really interesting, I think. And they sing it very well, and I just like how the vocals are layered on top of each other and how they kind of create, instruments of their own that work together on this backing track that's already really bombastic and grand. I'm really liking the suspenseful tone in the backing track throughout. They use drumming very effectively. The percussion is great, very hard hitting, while also having these suspenseful kind of backing brewing instruments. It's just one of those songs where I think, it kind of takes you out of whatever you're doing and it takes you into their little world of this song. And you're just stuck there for the 3 minutes. They take you on twists and turns and then kind of drop you back when everything is over with these very dramatic pauses and everything as well. It just works so well. And I think the hook is quite memorable as well, especially with how the vocal arrangement is layered here as well, with the backing vocals, how they incorporate behind this more memorable main melody. I'll actually go as far and say that I think this one is really great. I get that maybe a lot of people agree on that, but I get so much enjoyment out of it, honestly. So yeah, I'll put it up here. Yes Them is not for me, again. Kind of a nice little hook to this one. It's an upbeat pop track. It's very contemporary for its time, I think. Not really a fan of the performance. I think it looks very empty on stage. The stage is so big and they're not really utilizing it much. I think 2011 is, though, in all honesty, it's quite a difficult stage to stage something well on. Like, you need an actual concept for it to look good on that stage because everything is so empty behind it. And some songs just didn't really pull that off because they didn't have an idea to really fill it out. And I think this one is definitely one of them. It looks very underwhelming on stage for the type of song that it is. Just not too interesting for me, this song. Yeah. It's not my type of music. It's not my type of performance. Simple as. 2014. Yeah, this is... it's its own thing. You can't really compare it to a lot of other songs because it's just its own thing. It takes you into whatever they're doing. They do it pretty damn well. I think that for what the song tries to be, it's executed perfectly in that matter. It's just that it's not really my type of music, but I still get enjoyment out of it. I think it's catchy. I think the attitude on stage is great. Very charismatic performer, the main singer here. I don't know her name, sorry. But she's very charismatic and just gives off a really great performance, I think. And you have this memorable hook. It just really works. It's a presentation of something so out of the ordinary that I just can't help but really enjoy it for its entire runtime. I think it's a really great effort, honestly. Yeah, we'll put it up there. Now we come to 2015. This is probably my least favorite out of all of their ballad entries here from Poland. Poland have a few of these overly ballady type of songs, and this one is the most uninteresting of the bunch, I think. 2009 is pretty damn uninteresting too, but this one I can't get behind anything here. It's such a slow-moving song. It's so out of date, and honest. Like, it's still 2015, when you compare to other ballads that competed in this year, this one just gets outshone, like outshined. I don't know. It's not on par. It simply isn't. It's too uninteresting. The backing track is very over the top in a way. It's like the string arrangement is, they rely so much on the string arrangement, and the string arrangement is honestly kind of uninspired and uninteresting to me. Vocal performance is okay, but not much more than that. And it really just feels like they rely too much on like a sympathy kind of agenda, I guess, regarding her disability. Um, which I think is really a shame, because you should, the song is what you really should kind of elevate a performance with. I think she does her job, but the song that she has is not simply not good enough, I think, and way too uninteresting. It's simply not for me. I don't like it one bit. Sorry. Also, just this whole concept of showing clips in the background of her before what happened to her. I'm not well read on what actually happened, but that's just, I hate that. Don't try doing those things, because that's cheap, I think. 2016, Color of Your Life. This is, of course, the one that created such discrepancy between jury and televote. I think it's kind of funny. I like the performance of this a lot. I think the song has a nice melody to it. I like the kind of whole dramatic approach that the backing track also has, and the vocal track, in all honesty. It's a very dramatic kind of song. Not really sold on the production quality of it. I think the drumming, like the percussive side of the production, is quite weak. I think there's a lot of like piercing sounds in certain percussive elements. I think it's particularly the hi-hats, which I think are incredibly loud, which is kind of off-putting when you listen to it in studio cut. But when I just watch the performance, I get so much enjoyment out of it. I love the whole red and black color grading on stage. I think his performance is very kind of inviting, I guess. It just really works. It connects with me as a TV audience. And I like the melody of the song. I think it flows very nicely. And he sings it perfectly. Really great one again. They're stacking up a lot of those songs, in all honesty, Poland here. Of course, they have a few in the lower categories for me as well. But yeah. 2017, Flashlight. I think this one, I like the song a lot, but it just, in a similar kind of way with Yes Them, I think, this one becomes very empty on stage. It didn't really do much. Even though I like the whole kind of LED work on it, it's just a bit too uninteresting on stage, I think. Still, I guess that's a minor setback, because the song that they have here is so kind of authentic. It's a very atmospheric piece with string arrangement that I really like. I like the vocal performance. I like the way the song flows. Chorus has a nice melody to it. Maybe the song is a bit too uninteresting as it goes along for the entire 3 minutes, but can I really drag it? No, I'm still gonna put it in the really great category, because that's what I think about it. Yeah, really great. Then we have Light Me Up. I am tempted to put it in the What Happened Here category, in all honesty, but I know for a fact that this is just simply not my type of music. This kind of very radio-friendly house type of song with vocal chops, and it's not my type of music. I am a lover of electronic music, but it needs to have some substance in it, and I think this one is completely lacking in every single area, in all honesty. I really despise the vocal chop melody. I don't think it sounds very great. If you're gonna do vocal chops, then you ask Joust how to do them, because he apparently got the he knows how. I don't think this one very pulled off. It's like layering on the vocal chop is really poor. I don't like the sound. Like the sound it's not a pitched sound. It's just kind of an off-putting sound, in my opinion, for the vocal chops. And they don't really carry a lot of like drive or force in the soundstage either. Song is kind of uninspired songwriting throughout. The verses are a bit on the meh side, and then this kind of hook tries to be very upbeat and tries to have a memorable hook. Just doesn't click with me. And then the vocal performance live on stage wasn't very strong either. Nothing really works for me in this song. It's not my type of music. It's not my type of performance. And I'm kind of more let down than anything, because it could, I can kind of get behind sometimes these radio-friendly house songs with this kind of approach. This one just doesn't do anything interesting for me, so I can't get behind this one. Sorry. Pali Share or something. I guess this one really isn't for me either. This is not my type of music. It's very in the same vein, I guess, as 1995. Or yeah, a lot in that vein, in all honesty. I don't click with this kind of music, and I still admire the approach they're going for. I kind of like the rocky aspect of the verses, but I think the chorus is a bit too one note. Even though their way of singing really makes it stand out. It's a bit of a monotonous melody. It's not too interesting for me. I don't like the whole concept of the massive faces on the screen behind them, and I just never set out to listen to this song. So it's another not for me. Poland are stacking those up, and I can already see that we're gonna have another one down there, I think. 2020, however, Empires, solid. I don't really have a lot to say about this one. Whenever I think of songs from 2020, this is probably the one that I forget about the most, which I'm very sorry about, but it just didn't really have anything that I really latched onto, unfortunately. Even though that it's kind of well written, it has, this kind of very melodramatic drive in it throughout, and there's a strong vocal performance as well. It just doesn't quite have the melodic writing that I would really get behind. And I think the backing track doesn't go all the way with its kind of grandness that it needs. Because it's one thing to use kind of a string arrangement to build suspense and build some kind of evolution in the song as well. But the string arrangement needs to also have a purpose, and it needs to kind of evolve and actually build. And I don't think it goes all the way there. And I also think the structure is a bit on the odd side. I don't really get like a well-flowing structure throughout this song, and I don't really feel like the final climax of the song is very earned, which is a problem. Still, I think there are enough redeeming qualities to really push this one up, because I love the suspense of it. I think the atmosphere is very strong. Vocals are very strong. It's just everything kind of works together and just puts it in the middle for me. And that's where I'll put it. The Ride, however, by Rafał. I think I heard something about the L with the crossed over line, supposed to be pronounced as a W. If you know, then tell me in the comments, and I'll know for sure for the future. But let's call him Rafał then. And you can also butcher my pronunciation, or you can slate my pronunciation if you want to in the comments as well. Regardless, the song "The Ride" is simply not for me. Very weak production, not an interesting melody. Everything feels very restrained in a not so good way when it's supposed to be this kind of synth wave, heavy driving song. It just doesn't work. I don't think it's quite a what. Is it a what happened here? It might be, honestly. I'm gonna put it down there. I'm sorry, but yeah, I don't really like the performance either. Even though I guess it's kind of cool with the light in the hands. But I think Slovenia did it better in 2007? I don't know. We'll put it on there. River, on the other hand, I like this one. We all have joked enough about the shaky camera effects and the big raindrops on the screen, and it's just so absurd how they wanted to do it so over the top. It's like a throwback to the mid-90s when they started doing all of these visual effects on the screen that just made all of the performance look worse. With Malta in 96, when you had this big heart effect covering the whole screen. That's kind of the flashback vibe that I get when I watch the performance for River. But we're gonna drop that. I like the staging concept of these kind of shadowy creatures around it. It's very dramatic, and I kind of like just that approach. Of course, vocally, I love this. I think the song has a great melody to it. Kind of just love this hectic approach that it has. It's not a power ballad by any stretch of the imagination. It's a very engaging song throughout, and I really like the whole attitude and atmosphere of it. Love the breakdown towards the end of the song where the string arrangement switches up, and it really just kind of creates an evolution in the song. Makes it non-repetitive, I guess. Really just adds another layer of something to really latch onto. And I've grown to actually like this song more and more the more I've listened to it. I think I think I will. Due to the performance being a bit, huh, that kind of impression, I'll put this in really great. But I think song wise and performance wise, like vocally and staging concept and everything, it's probably in the fantastic category. But if you kept the camera straight and if you didn't spill water on the camera lens, you would have ended up there. But sorry, Ockman and Poland, but I'll put you in the really great category. Still, when I just look at this list, there are a lot of songs in really great, and a lot of songs in not for me as well. Poland is very divisive in that case, I guess. But yeah, that's the list that I just compiled for Polish songs in Eurovision. Do tell me if what I've done completely unreasonable, what unreasonable things I've done today. And also update me on the whole situation of how to pronounce Rafał's name or Rafał's name. And I'll be hopefully looking forward to, or I will be looking forward to, hopefully, seeing you in the video where I will be ranking Portuguese Eurovision entries. I have a feeling that it might actually look a bit similar, because Portugal, I've had a few years when they haven't really been towards the top of my list either. But I think lately we've had a lot of great stuff from there. So we'll see how I'm going to rank that country. I'm actually looking forward to that a lot. But yeah, take care of yourselves until I see you in another video. So bye-bye for now.